Sit quietly for a moment and listen not only with your ears but with the stillness within you. There are many who walk through life feeling unseen forces, fear, negativity, restless thoughts, and unseen burdens that seem to cling like shadows at dusk. They search outside for protection, for some powerful charm, some hidden secret that can shield them from harm. And so the idea arises, keep this seed in your pocket and evil will not touch you again.
But what is this seed?
Is it something you hold in your hand or something you awaken within yourself? A seed is small, almost nothing, yet within it lives the potential of a great tree. It does not fight the storm. It does not resist the darkness of the soil. Instead, it accepts, it grows, and it transforms. In the same way, the true protection you seek is not in the object, but in what it reminds you to become. When you place a seed in your pocket, let it not be a symbol of fear, but a reminder of awareness. Each time your hand touches it, remember this: no external force is as powerful as an undisciplined mind. Evil, as you call it, often enters not through doors or windows, but through anger, greed, jealousy, and fear. These are the true openings. If the mind is restless, even a mountain of protection will not be enough. But if the mind is steady, even in a storm, nothing can truly harm you. So carry the seed if you wish, but understand its meaning. Let it remind you to plant patience where there is irritation. Let it remind you to grow compassion where there is hatred. Let it remind you to water silence where there is noise. Because the moment you transform your inner world, the outer shadows lose their power. A person who walks with awareness becomes like a flame in darkness, untouched, unwavering. Negativity may come near, but it cannot stay. Just as darkness cannot remain where there is light, harmful energies cannot remain where there is clarity and peace. Do not depend on the seed as a shield. Let it be a teacher. When fear arises, hold it and breathe. When anger rises, observe it without becoming it. When negativity surrounds you, return to stillness. This is the real protection. Many will search for magical objects, rituals, and quick solutions. But the truth is simple and often ignored. What you carry in your heart is far more powerful than what you carry in your pocket. So if you keep this seed, let it awaken something deeper within you. Let it remind you that you are not weak, not vulnerable, not at the mercy of unseen forces. You are the gardener of your inner world. And when your inner world is rooted in awareness, compassion, and calmness, no evil can touch you, not because it disappears, but because it no longer finds a place within you to stay. Now ask yourself, will you depend on the seed or will you become it? The seed is a symbol, not magic. The seed itself has no supernatural power. It represents inner awareness, growth, and self-control. Many people move through life believing that protection comes from something they can hold, wear, or keep close to their body. They search for objects that promise safety, something small, hidden, and powerful that can quietly guard them from unseen harm. A seed placed in the pocket may seem like one such object. It feels simple, natural, and ancient, as if it carries a secret wisdom. But the truth is far deeper and far more subtle than it appears. The seed itself holds no magic in the way people often imagine. It does not create an invisible shield, nor does it chase away darkness by its mere presence. Its real power lies in what it represents. A seed is a beginning, a silent promise of growth. Within something so small exists the potential for something vast and strong. Yet that potential only becomes real when it is nurtured with care, patience, and the right conditions. Without that, it remains only a seed of possibility, but unchanged. In the same way, carrying a seed in your pocket is not about relying on it to protect you. It is about remembering what you are capable of becoming. Each time your fingers touch it, it can serve as a quiet reminder that strength is not something you borrow from the outside world. It is something you grow within yourself. When fear arises, the seed reminds you to pause instead of react. When anger begins to burn, it reminds you that growth requires control, not impulse. When negative thoughts try to take root, it reminds you that you have the choice to nourish them or to let them pass. The seed becomes a symbol of awareness, gently calling you back to yourself in moments when you might otherwise lose balance. Many people misunderstand protection. They believe it is about blocking the world, pushing away anything that feels uncomfortable or threatening. But true protection is not resistance, it is understanding. Just as a seed does not fight the darkness of the soil but uses it to grow, you too can learn to face challenges without fear. The darkness does not destroy the seed, it helps it transform. So the seed you carry is not a charm to depend on, but a teacher to remember. It teaches you that real safety comes from clarity, from discipline, and from inner stillness. When you begin to live with that awareness, you no longer need to rely on objects for protection, because you realize that nothing external was ever the source of your strength. The seed simply points you back to the truth. What you become within is what protects you outside. True protection comes from the mind. Negativity and evil enter through emotions like fear, anger, and jealousy, not from outside forces. There is a quiet truth that many overlook while searching for protection in the outside world. The mind is the true gatekeeper of all experience. People often imagine that harm, negativity, or unseen forces approach them from beyond, as if danger lies somewhere out there waiting for the right moment to strike. Because of this belief, they begin to search for shields in objects, rituals, or symbols. Yet they forget to look at the one place where all things are first received, their own mind. The mind, when left unguarded, becomes like an open door. Through this door enter fear, anger, jealousy, doubt, and endless restless thoughts. These are not small things. They shape how you see the world, how you react to others, and how deeply you suffer. When fear enters, it creates illusions that feel real. When anger enters, it burns not the outside world, but the one who carries it. When jealousy enters, it poisons peace from within. These are the true forms of disturbance that people often mistake for external evil. So when it is said that true protection comes from the mind, it means something very simple yet very profound. If you learn to understand and guide your inner state, nothing outside can truly overpower you. A person who has not mastered their mind can be shaken by the smallest discomfort. A single harsh word, a small loss, or even a passing thought can disturb their entire being. But a person who has cultivated awareness stands differently. They observe what arises without immediately becoming it. This does not mean that negative thoughts will never appear. Just as clouds pass through the sky, thoughts and emotions will come and go. The difference is that you no longer give them control. You see fear, but you do not become fearful. You notice anger, but you do not act from it. You feel jealousy, but you do not let it take root. In this way, the door of the mind is no longer wide open, it becomes watched, understood, and steady. Protection, then, is not about building walls. It is about awareness. Walls can crack and shields can break, but awareness remains. It allows you to respond rather than react, to remain calm in situations that once disturbed you, and to see clearly where confusion once lived. When the mind is steady, even in chaos, there is a deep sense of safety that cannot be shaken. Not because the world has changed, but because your relationship with it has transformed. And in that transformation you discover something powerful. What once seemed like external evil was often just an untrained mind searching for something to fear. When you master the mind, you close the door to unnecessary suffering, and in doing so, you find a protection that no external object could ever provide. Inner transformation is the real shield. By cultivating patience, compassion, and calmness, you naturally protect yourself from negativity. There is a common habit in the human heart to look outward when seeking safety, and inward only when forced by pain. People gather objects, follow rituals, and hold tightly to symbols, hoping these things will guard them from harm. Yet, the deepest form of protection does not come from what you hold in your hand, but from what you cultivate within yourself. Inner transformation is not something dramatic or sudden. It does not arrive like a storm that changes everything in a moment. Instead, it is quiet, patient, and steady, like a seed growing beneath the soil where no one can see it. Day by day, through small choices and gentle awareness, a person begins to change, and in that change they discover a strength that cannot be shaken by the outer world. When patience begins to replace irritation, something powerful happens. Situations that once caused frustration lose their intensity. You no longer react instantly or blindly. You pause, you see clearly, and in that pause you regain control over yourself. This alone is a form of protection, because many problems in life do not come from the situation itself, but from how quickly and carelessly we respond to it. When compassion begins to replace anger, another transformation unfolds. You start to understand that others like you are shaped by their own struggles, fears, and confusion. Instead of feeding conflict, you begin to dissolve it. Anger may still arise, but it no longer rules you. And without anger taking control, you avoid creating harm for yourself and others. This too is protection, not from the outside, but from the consequences of your own reactions. When calmness begins to replace restlessness, the mind becomes clear like still water. In that clarity, you see things as they are, not as your fears imagine them to be. You stop chasing every thought, every worry, every doubt. You begin to let them pass, just as the wind passes through an open space. This calmness protects you from unnecessary suffering, from overthinking, and from being overwhelmed by life's constant movement. This is the true shield, one that is built not in a moment, but over time. It does not depend on luck, objects, or external forces. It depends on your willingness to observe yourself, to grow, and to let go of what disturbs your inner balance. A person who has transformed within does not become untouched by life, but they become unshaken by it. Difficulties may still come, but they no longer break the spirit. Negativity may appear, but it finds no place to settle. In this way, inner transformation becomes your greatest protection, not because it removes all challenges, but because it changes who you are in the face of them. Awareness defeats darkness. A mindful and peaceful person becomes untouchable by harmful energy, just like light removes darkness. There is something deeply misunderstood about darkness. People often fear it, avoid it, and try to escape it, believing it holds power over them. They imagine negativity as something strong, something that must be fought or pushed away with force. But darkness, in its true nature, has no power of its own. It is only the absence of light. And the moment light appears, darkness does not resist, argue, or struggle, it simply disappears. In the same way, awareness acts as light within the human mind. When a person lives without awareness, their thoughts and emotions move freely like shadows in an unlit room. Fear grows larger than it truly is. Anger feels justified and uncontrollable. Doubt becomes convincing. In such a state, negativity seems powerful not because it is strong, but because there is no clarity to reveal its true nature. The mind, left unattended, begins to believe everything it experiences, and in that belief, suffering takes root. But the moment awareness enters, everything begins to change. Awareness does not fight thoughts. It does not try to destroy emotions. It simply observes them. And in that observation, something remarkable happens. Thoughts that once felt overwhelming begin to lose their intensity. Emotions that once controlled your actions begin to soften. You start to see that fear is just a passing state, not a permanent truth. You notice that anger rises and falls like a wave that cannot stay forever. You realize that many of the things that disturbed you were given power only because they were not understood. This is why it is said that awareness defeats darkness, not through struggle but through presence. A mindful person becomes like a lamp in a dark space. Wherever they go, clarity follows. Situations that once created confusion are now seen with calm understanding. Reactions that once happened instantly are replaced with thoughtful responses. Even when challenges arise, there is a sense of steadiness that remains unbroken. Negativity may still appear just as darkness returns when light is removed, but for a person who has cultivated awareness, it cannot stay for long. The moment they turn their attention inward, the light returns. And once again, the darkness fades without resistance. This kind of protection is subtle but powerful. It does not depend on controlling the outside world, because the outside world will always be changing. Instead, it depends on maintaining the light within, no matter what is happening around you. When you learn to live with awareness, you no longer fear darkness. You understand it. And in that understanding, you discover that it was never something to fight, only something to illuminate. You are the source of your strength. The real power lies within you, not in objects, so focus on mastering your inner world rather than relying on external charms. There is a quiet strength within every person that often goes unnoticed, not because it is weak, but because it is rarely explored. Many spend their lives believing that power exists outside of them, in objects, in symbols, in the approval of others, or in forces they cannot see. Because of this belief, they begin to depend on things that can be lost, broken, or taken away. And when those things are gone, they feel unprotected, as if their strength has disappeared with them. But true strength does not come and go. It does not depend on what you carry in your pocket or what you place around you. It lives within you, steady and constant, waiting to be recognized. To understand this, you must begin to look inward. Notice how your thoughts shape your experience. Notice how a single negative belief can change your entire mood, and how a moment of calm awareness can restore balance just as quickly. This is not a small thing. It shows that the source of your peace or disturbance is not the world itself, but how you meet it from within. When you rely on external things for protection, you give away your power without realizing it. You begin to think, I am safe because of this object, or I am protected because of this ritual. And while these may bring temporary comfort, they also create quiet dependence. The mind becomes attached, and attachment always carries fear, the fear of losing what you depend on. But when you begin to understand that your strength comes from within, something shifts. You no longer look outward with the same urgency. You start to trust your own awareness, your ability to remain calm, and your capacity to respond wisely to whatever arises. This trust is not blind confidence, it is built through observation, through experience, and through repeatedly seeing that you can remain steady even when things around you are not. A person who knows their inner strength walks differently through the world. They are not easily shaken by opinions, circumstances, or unexpected events. This does not mean they never face difficulty, but it means they are not controlled by it. They carry a sense of balance that cannot be taken away because it was never dependent on anything external. In this way, the greatest realization is simple. You are not as fragile as you once believed. The protection you seek has always been within you, not outside of you. When you stop searching for strength in objects and begin to cultivate it within your own mind and heart, you discover something freeing. You are no longer dependent. You are no longer afraid of losing what you thought you needed. You become steady, self-aware, and grounded. And in that state, nothing external has the power to weaken you, because the source of your strength is no longer something you hold, it is something you are.